Hello students, thank you for watching this video. This time I'm going to talk to you about another aspect of arrangement. I hope you already developed or created your outline for the future topics that you are going to talk about. And now I'm going to talk to you about subordination because arranging our key points can help us better understand the relationship between or among the different points that we are going to cover in our speech. More importantly, well-arranged points are easier for audiences members to follow along with. Now, this video will talk about the importance of subordinating your key points. Now, subordination simply means that you that all your key points relate to that topic. Remember that. Subordinate the different ideas. They need to be related to that topic. So, for example, let's see the other slide. Let's see this example. Let's say I was doing a key point speech on why public speaking should be a graduation requirement. So, public speaking is pretty common in different universities and is pretty common course, but it's usually not a required course. So, let's say that's my thesis, okay? Public speaking should be a university graduation requirement. Public speaking should be a university graduation requirement. So, in arguing this, I come up with these 3 points. Let's see them. Number one, public speaking is good for classes. Um, Sorry, we need a double S here. Classes, double S, right? And number two, public speaking is good for jobs. Number three, public speaking is good for civic obligations. Um, when you look at those points, those 3 points they don't violate the main thesis, you see, but they actually don't relate to it that much. Um, it kind of looks like my thesis and my key points are on slightly different topics. So here's a quick check. Um, if I cover up my thesis, could you guess what it was simply by looking at the key points? Can you guess? Can you guess it? So well, the answer is probably not, right? If you were just looking at the key points, if you were looking just at the key points, a reasonable guess in this case could be something that my thesis is something like public speaking is good or is very good, only that, because as you can see, that's all I'm saying in those uh, 3 key points. There are some key terms in the thesis, in this thesis, that are just that aren't explained in the different points. So let's revise this. Now, when we think about it, this is about public speaking, but it's also about universities and it's also about requirements. So those are important ideas um, that should show up in the key points as well. So we have to be careful with that. I can still have an entire point about the goodness of public speaking instruction, but I also need to talk about the feasibility of making it a requirement. Now, in other words, subordination helps you keep your speech on track. Okay? If your points are subordinate to the topic then you are not going to wander off on when you are talking, when you are delivering the speech, okay? But um, that also means that each key point should relate to some aspect of your topic, providing some detail, more explanation, okay? So as you can see in these examples, you can see that now we have 2 points much better than the others. You see, public speaking adds value to a college degree. Now it is related to that thesis. It's the same case as in the second example. In the second point, universities can easily add public speaking to the list of requirements. So this is much better than the previous one. Okay, here we have. Okay, now I'm going to talk about well, this is a summary about this that I explained. Number one, all your key points all relate to that topic. They need to be related to the main topic. Number two, subordinating your points helps you keep the speech from wandering off on tangents. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about phrasing. How can you phrase the different points on your outline if you are preparing an outline, if you want to correct them, if you want to make some changes, you can do it using or following this advice that I'm going to explain to you, okay? If you already did your outline and you want to change or to modify it, you can do it, okay? Okay, so the phrasing on a key point, not the entire point, is just there to help the listener understand what you will talk about. So basically, I want the key point language um, to hold a spot in the listener's mind. Um, and I'll fill that spot when I get to that point in the speech. So let's say I was delivering a key point speech on making public speaking a university requirement, and I came up with these points. Okay, these points I'm going to show them. These are, as you can see here, these key points are too long, right? Though the existing list of requirements is rather long, we could easily add public speaking to the list in a way that doesn't disrupt too many majors and other activities. Okay, so that's too long, too much details. In essence, I'm trying to argue the entire point in its phrasing, and I don't need to do you don't need to do that neither in your outline, in your speech. Okay, it's hiding the important information, as you can see. So get rid of that hot mess. This is a mess. um, Now how can we arrange this? How can we phrase this point? You can see this is another example. It's much better. The point one is making public speaking a requirement is very doable. And the number two is making public speaking a requirement is good for a university education. So this version cuts down each key point to its essential ideas. So you are going to write your points taking into account the essential ideas. Don't write everything, okay, like this. No, you need to avoid that, and you need to write points or key point like these ones, okay? So if you did or if you wrote two long sentences in your points, you can arrange them, okay? If you have any question, you can let me know. You can send your outline to check it out and to see if it is okay, if you consider that you need to make some other changes or modifications. Okay, students, now you have to to go to Schoology and participate in the first and in the second discussion, then you have to develop the activity that you have for today. That activity is for grading. It is for grading. And also, when you finish that, you can start writing your speech. So if you have your outline, okay, you are going to start writing your speech, okay? If you want me to see that, if you want me to give you some suggestions or recommendations, you can you can tell me, or you can send me your speech, and I will give you some advice if you need it, okay? So have a nice time, and I hope you learn a lot with this topic, okay?